I regained consciousness in a psychiatric ward with handcuffs on my wrists. The doctor told me that my son had admitted me 5 days earlier for psychotic episodes. I was 72 years old and completely lucid. Then the doctor asked, "Do you want to know what else your son did? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and comment where you're watching from." I opened my eyes to fluorescent lights and the smell of disinfectant. My wrists ached. When I tried to move my hands, metal bit into my skin. Handcuffs. I was handcuffed to a hospital bed. The room was small, institutional white, with a single window covered by metal mesh. No paintings, no flowers, just sterile walls and the persistent hum of ventilation. My mouth felt like cotton, my thoughts sluggish and scattered, as if I were swimming through fog. A woman in scrubs sat in the corner watching me. When our eyes met, she stood and left without a word. "I am Martha DeGettel. I am 72 years old. I lived, in the family estate outside Lexington, Virginia, a sprawling colonial home my late husband Thomas and I renovated over 30 years. I raised 2 children there. I buried my husband there 3 years ago. I am not crazy, but someone wanted the world to think I was." The door opened. A man in his 50s entered, wearing a white coat and carrying a clipboard. Dr. Morrison, according to his name tag. He had kind eyes, which somehow made everything worse. "Mrs. DeGettel," he said gently, settling into the chair. "I'm glad you're awake. How are you feeling?" "Confused," I said. My voice came out raspy. "Why am I handcuffed? Where am I?" "You're at Riverside Psychiatric Facility. You were admitted 5 days ago." He consulted his clipboard. "Your son Daniel brought you in. He was very concerned about your behavior." 5 days. The fog in my mind thickened. I couldn't remember 5 days. I couldn't remember anything after. After what? Tuesday morning? I'd been having coffee in my kitchen. The sunlight had been streaming through the windows. And then nothing. "What behavior?" I asked. Dr. Morrison's expression remained professionally neutral. "According to your son's statement, you've been experiencing psychotic episodes, paranoid delusions, violent outbursts, memory loss. He said you've been deteriorating for several weeks." "That's not true." The words came out too quickly, too desperate. I forced myself to breathe. "Doctor, I don't know what Daniel told you, but I haven't been having episodes. I've been perfectly fine." "Mrs. DeGettel, denial is common in cases like yours." "I'm not in denial. I'm telling you the truth." My hands trembled against the restraints. "Please, something is wrong here. Very wrong." He studied me for a long moment. Then he set down his clipboard and leaned forward. "Do you want to know what else your son said?" The way he asked made my blood run cold. "Yes. He said you've been accusing his wife, Monica, of stealing from you. He said you've been hiding valuables around the house, forgetting where you put them, then blaming her. He said last week you attacked her with a kitchen knife." My stomach dropped. No, that never happened. "He brought videos, Mrs. DeGettel. Documentation of your episodes. That's why we had to restrain you initially. For your safety and the safety of our staff. Videos." My mind reeled. "What videos? I'd never attacked anyone. I want to see them," I said. Dr. Morrison hesitated. "I'm not sure that's advisable right now. I want to see what my son showed you." He regarded me carefully, then nodded. "All right. But I'll need to be present, and if you become agitated, I won't." He left and returned 10 minutes later with a tablet. The handcuffs stayed on. He sat beside the bed and pulled up a video file. The woman on the screen was me, but she wasn't me. In the video, I stood in my kitchen, hair disheveled, wearing the same nightgown I'd worn to bed 3 weeks ago. I was shouting at Monica, my daughter-in-law, pointing a trembling finger at her. My words were slurred, barely coherent. "You're stealing from me. I know you are. Get out of my house." Monica backed away, her face a mask of patient concern. "Martha, please, let me help you back to bed. Don't touch me." The woman on the screen, me, but not me, grabbed a coffee mug and hurled it. It shattered against the wall. The video cut off. Dr. Morrison played another. This one showed me wandering through my living room at night, talking to empty air, laughing at nothing. Another showed me collapsed on the kitchen floor, unresponsive, while Monica called 911. I watched in horror. I had no memory of any of this. There are 6 videos total, Dr. Morrison said quietly, spanning 3 weeks. Your daughter-in-law documented everything. She was clearly trying to help you, Mrs. DeGettle. Those aren't real, I whispered. But even as I said it, doubt crept in. Was I losing my mind? Had I been sick and not known it? I understand this is difficult to accept. No. I forced my brain to work through the fog. Something's wrong with those videos. Look at the dates. You said I was admitted 5 days ago. Yes, on the 23rd. That last video, the one where I'm on the floor. What's the date stamp? He checked. The 22nd. And I was supposedly having episodes for 3 weeks before that? According to the documentation, yes. My heart pounded. Doctor, 3 weeks ago I attended my bridge club meeting. I had lunch with my friend Patricia. I volunteered at the community center. If I'd been having violent episodes, someone would have noticed. He frowned. Your son indicated you'd become reclusive. Call Patricia. Call the community center. Check my credit card statements. I had lunch at Delmonico's on the 15th. I wasn't reclusive. I was living my normal life. For the first time, Dr. Morrison looked uncertain. Please, I said. Something happened to me. I don't know what, but those videos, they're not what they seem. And I need to find out why my son thinks I'm crazy when I'm not. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he stood. I'll make some calls. In the meantime, I'm going to recommend we remove the restraints. You've been calm and coherent since waking, but you'll need to stay in the facility until we can fully evaluate your situation. How long? At least 72 hours, possibly longer depending on what I find. After he left, I lay in the narrow bed and tried to remember. Coffee in the kitchen, sunlight. Monica had been there. She often stopped by in the mornings. She'd made the coffee that day, I remembered now. She'd been so kind, so attentive. She'd handed me the cup with a smile. And then nothing. The door opened again. A nurse entered, young, dark-haired, with nervous eyes. She glanced at the hallway before closing the door. Mrs. DeGettle? She whispered. I'm Rebecca Torres. The name meant nothing to me. Yes? I'm a friend of your daughter, of Tisha. She's in London, but we keep in touch. She sent me a message yesterday, frantic. She said she couldn't reach you, that Daniel told her you were sick but wouldn't give details. Tisha. My daughter. I hadn't spoken to her in… how long? Days? Weeks? I don't have my phone, I said. I know. Your son took it. He took your laptop too. He said it was for your own good, that you were sending paranoid messages. The fog was lifting now, replaced by something sharp and cold. I wasn't. Rebecca moved closer. Tisha doesn't believe you're sick. She thinks something else is going on. She asked me to check on you when I saw you were admitted here. She paused. Mrs. DeGettle, I looked at your file. The blood work we took when you arrived showed high levels of benzodiazepines in your system. What does that mean? It means you were sedated. Heavily. The levels were consistent with someone who'd been drugged regularly for days, maybe weeks. My hands clenched. Monica made my coffee that morning. She'd been making it for weeks. Every morning she'd come by and insist I needed to rest, that she'd take care of everything. Rebecca's face hardened. Tisha told me to tell you something. She said if anything seemed wrong, you should know. Monica convinced Daniel to give her power of attorney over your medical decisions 2 months ago. She said it was to help him, to take the burden off him since you'd been struggling. Power of attorney over my medical decisions. She can keep me here, I said slowly. She already has. Daniel signed the initial admission papers, but Monica countersigned as your medical proxy. She's been giving Dr. Morrison updates daily. She told him you'd been non-compliant with medication for months, that you'd refused psychiatric help. I felt sick. None of that is true. I believe you. Rebecca glanced at the door again. But you need proof, and you need to figure out what she's really after. My estate, I said. The pieces were clicking into place. Thomas left everything to me. The house, the investments, the land. It's worth millions. I told Daniel and Tisha I plan to leave most of it to them equally, But I hadn't updated my will yet. If something happened to me, if I were declared incompetent, Daniel would inherit as next of kin, and Monica is his wife. We stared at each other. I need to get out of here, I said. You can't. Not yet. Not without proof that you're competent, and Monica's already poisoned that well. But Mrs. de Gettle, Rebecca pulled a small phone from her pocket. Tisha sent me this burner phone for you. She said to hide it. She's working on something from London, trying to get legal help, but it'll take time. In the meantime, you need to find out what else Monica has done, what other pieces she's put in place. She pressed the phone into my hand. It was small, old, easy to conceal. There's something else, Rebecca whispered. I overheard Monica talking to Daniel in the hallway yesterday. She said, once the conservatorship goes through, we'll finally be free of her. Mrs. de Gettle, they're not just trying to control your medical care. They're trying to control everything. A conservatorship. Complete legal control over my life, my money, my decisions. How long do I have? I asked. The hearing is scheduled for next week. Daniel's lawyer filed the papers 3 days ago, while you were sedated. If you don't fight it, if you can't prove you're competent, you'll lose everything. Rebecca left as quietly as she'd come. I lay in the dark, the phone hidden under my pillow, and let the truth settle over me like ice. My daughter-in-law had drugged me. She'd filmed me while sedated. She'd convinced my son I was insane. And now she was going to take everything Thomas and I had built. But she'd made one mistake. I was still conscious, still thinking, and I was far from finished. The next morning, I woke to the sound of voices in the hallway. One of them was Daniel's. My son. My only son. The boy I'd raised to be honest and strong, who'd held my hand at his father's funeral and promised he'd take care of me. Now he was standing outside my locked door, discussing my condition with strangers. I pressed my ear to the door. Completely delusional, Daniel was saying. His voice carried the exhaustion of someone who'd been fighting a losing battle. Yesterday, she told the doctor that Monica drugged her. Can you believe that? After everything Monica's done to help her. It's common for dementia patients to fixate on caregivers, a woman's voice replied. Monica, of course. They see us as threats because we witness their decline. It's textbook projection, really. I just want her to get better. Daniel sounded close to tears. I keep thinking about Dad, about how he'd want me to handle this. He'd want her to be safe. You're doing the right thing, Monica said softly. This facility is the best place for her. And once the conservatorship is finalized, we can make sure she gets the long-term care she needs. Long-term care. They were planning to keep me locked up indefinitely. I stepped back from the door as footsteps approached. A key turned in the lock. Daniel entered first, and the sight of him hit me like a physical blow. He looked terrible, drawn, pale, his eyes red-rimmed. Behind him, Monica stood with perfect posture, her blonde hair pulled back in a neat bun, wearing an expensive cashmere sweater and pearl earrings. My pearl earrings, I realized with a jolt. The ones Thomas had given me for our 30th anniversary. Mom. Daniel crossed to the bed but didn't sit. How are you feeling? I'm feeling like a prisoner, I said carefully. Daniel, please listen to me. I don't belong here. I'm not sick. His face crumpled. Mom, don't start. I'm not starting anything. I'm trying to tell you the truth. I kept my voice calm, measured. I know you've been shown videos. I know Monica told you I've been having episodes, but none of it is real. I was drugged, Daniel. Someone put something in my coffee. Monica's expression shifted into practiced concern. Martha, we've been through this. The doctor already explained that paranoid delusions are part of your condition. I don't have a condition. I looked at my son, pleading. Daniel, when did I supposedly start acting strangely? What was the first sign? He hesitated. About a month ago. You called me at work, crying, saying someone had been in the house. You said things were moved around, that your jewelry was missing. Was anything actually missing? We found everything. You'd just forgotten where you put things. Or someone moved them and put them back, I said. Daniel, think about it. In all the years you've known me, have I ever forgotten where I kept my things? Have I ever been careless with my jewelry or important documents? Doubt flickered across his face. Monica noticed it too. She's manipulating you, Monica said quickly. This is what Dr. Morrison warned us about. Lucid intervals where she seems completely normal, then sudden regression. You can't let her guilt you into doubting what you've seen with your own eyes. What I've seen in videos that I don't remember, I countered. Daniel, I had lunch with Patricia Mack on the 15th. I attended Bridge Club on the 18th. I was at the grocery store on the 20th. You can check the security cameras. Do any of those sound like the actions of someone having violent psychotic episodes? You could have been hiding it. From everyone? From my oldest friends? I leaned forward. Call Patricia, right now. Ask her if I seemed sick when we had lunch. Monica moved closer to Daniel, placing a hand on his arm. This is exactly what the doctor said would happen. She'll try to create doubt, to make you question reality. That's why we documented everything, so you'd have proof when she tried to twist things. I'm not twisting anything. I'm asking for verification. That's not unreasonable. I met Daniel's eyes. Please, just make one phone call. He wavered. I could see the conflict in his face. The son who loved me warring with the husband who trusted his wife. I'll think about it, he said finally. Monica's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. We should let her rest. Dr. Morrison said not to overwhelm her with too many visitors. They left. Through the window in the door, I watched Monica lean close to Daniel in the hallway, whispering urgently. Whatever she was saying, it worked. His shoulders sagged in defeat. I had maybe 24 hours before he was completely convinced I was beyond reach. Using the burner phone Rebecca had given me, I called Tisha in London. She answered on the first ring. Mom? Her voice cracked with relief. Oh, thank goodness. Rebecca said she found you, but I was so scared. I'm all right, sweetheart. Scared, but all right. I kept my voice low. Rebecca told me you're working on something from there? I'm trying. I contacted a lawyer, an American firm with an office here. They're looking into the conservatorship filing, but Mom, the evidence Daniel submitted is really damaging. Videos, doctor's notes from Monica claiming she tried to get you help, notes from Monica, not from an actual doctor I'd seen. No, she claimed you refused to see a doctor, that you became violent when she suggested it. The videos back up her claims. Mom, I've seen them. They're really convincing. My throat tightened. Tisha, I need you to trust me. Those videos aren't what they seem. I was drugged. I think Monica has been planning this for months. Silence. Then, the pearl earrings. What? Your pearl earrings. The ones from Dad. I came home for Christmas, remember? You were wearing them at dinner. Monica complimented them, said how beautiful they were, asked about their history. You told her about Dad giving them to you, about how they were your most precious possession. Tisha's voice hardened. The next morning, I found her in your bedroom. She said she was looking for extra blankets, but Mom, she was standing at your jewelry box. I thought it was weird then, but I didn't say anything. She's wearing them now, I whispered. She walked into my room wearing my earrings. That's not all. Last summer, I was helping you organize the attic. We found Dad's old files, the deeds to the property, stock certificates, everything. You said you needed to update your will but kept putting it off. Monica was there that day. She asked a lot of questions about the estate, about what you planned to do with it. The pieces were falling into place. She's been planning this since then. Maybe longer. I'm flying home tomorrow, Tisha said. I'll be there in 2 days. Just hold on, Mom. Don't sign anything. Don't agree to anything. Tisha, there's something else. Monica has medical power of attorney over me. Daniel gave it to her. The silence stretched so long I thought we'd been disconnected. She can keep you there indefinitely, Tisha finally said. She can authorize treatments, medications, transfers to long-term facilities. Mom, she can make you disappear. A knock at the door made me jump. I have to go. Fly safe, sweetheart. And Tisha, be careful. If Monica realizes you're a threat. I know. I love you, Mom. I love you too. I hid the phone just as Rebecca entered, pushing a medication cart. Mrs. DeGettle, it's time for your evening medications. What medications? She glanced at the hallway, then lowered her voice. Risperdal, an antipsychotic. Monica authorized it this morning. She told Dr. Morrison you'd been responding well to it before admission. I've never taken antipsychotics in my life. I know. That's why I'm telling you. Rebecca handed me the small paper cup with 2 pills inside. The doctor doesn't know yet that you've never been prescribed these. Monica brought in a full medical history, completely fabricated, we think, showing years of psychiatric treatment. It's going to take time to verify it's fake. If I refuse the medication, they can force you to take it. You're on an involuntary hold. Rebecca's eyes were sympathetic. But if you take it, it'll make you drowsy, compliant, less able to fight back. I stared at the pills. What do? Palm them. Hold them under your tongue until I leave, then spit them out. But you'll have to fake the side effects. Drowsiness, slower speech. They'll be watching to make sure the medication is working. She left me alone with the pills. I tucked them into the seam of the mattress, then lay back and practiced looking sedated. An hour later, Dr. Morrison came to check on me. I made my words slightly slurred, let my eyelids droop. He seemed satisfied. The medication is helping, he told Monica, who'd appeared at his side like a well-dressed shadow. She's much calmer. We'll continue this dosage and monitor her response. Whatever you think is best, doctor. Monica's smile was warm, grateful. I just want her to be comfortable. After they left, I waited until the night shift started. Rebecca had told me the facility was understaffed at night, 2 nurses for 40 patients. Everyone would be busy with actual emergencies. I needed to move while I still could. Using the burner phone, I accessed my bank account. Monica and Daniel didn't know about this particular account. It was one Thomas had set up years ago for emergencies, a small fund with only $50,000. Not much compared to the main estate, but enough. The account was still active. No one had frozen it. I transferred $20,000 to a new account in Tisha's name, with instructions for her to access it when she landed. The rest I left untouched. Too much activity might trigger alerts. Then I started making calls. Patricia Mack answered on the 3rd ring. Martha? Good heavens, where are you? I've been calling your house for days. Patricia, I need you to do something for me. It's urgent. I explained quickly. The facility, the videos, Monica's claims. Daniel told Dr. Morrison I've been sick for weeks, but you had lunch with me on the 15th. Do you remember? Of course I remember. We met at Delmonico's. You ordered the salmon. We talked about the community center fundraiser. Martha, you were completely yourself. Sharp, funny, engaged. What on earth is going on? I need you to call Riverside Psychiatric Facility. Ask for Dr. Morrison. Tell him exactly what you just told me. I'll call him right now. And Patricia, be careful. If Monica finds out you're helping me, that woman never liked you. I could see it from the start. Patricia's voice turned steely. Don't worry, dear. I'll handle this. The next call was harder. George Brennan, Thomas's attorney, had handled our legal affairs for 30 years. If anyone could stop the conservatorship, it was him. Martha? His surprise was evident. I heard you were ill. I'm not ill, George. I'm being framed, and I need your help. I told him everything. When I finished, he was quiet for a long moment. This is serious, he said finally. If what you're saying is true, Monica has committed fraud, false imprisonment, possibly attempted theft. But Martha, the evidence she's provided is substantial. Those videos were filmed while I was drugged. George, my blood work showed benzodiazepines. Rebecca Torres, a nurse here, can testify to that. That helps. But it's still your word against documented evidence. We need to prove the videos are fabricated or that you were incapacitated when they were made. He paused. Do you have access to your house? Your computer? No. Monica has control of everything. Then we need to move fast. The conservatorship hearing is in 6 days. I'll file an emergency motion to delay it, citing new evidence. But Martha, you need to stay calm. Stay coherent. Any sign that you're actually unstable will destroy our case. After he hung up, I lay in the dark and listened to the facility settle into night. Somewhere down the hall, someone was crying. The sound echoed off the walls, lonely and desperate. I understood how they felt, but I wasn't broken yet. And I wasn't alone. Tisha was coming. Patricia was calling the doctor. George was filing motions. And somewhere in my house, in my life, Monica had left a trail. People who planned crimes this elaborate always did. They got confident, careless. I just had to find it. The door opened. A security guard stood silhouetted in the hallway light. "Mrs. Degettel, you have a visitor. At 10 o'clock at night? Who?" Monica stepped into the room. She closed the door behind her, and for the first time since this nightmare began, she dropped the mask of concern. Her smile was cold, satisfied. "Hello, Martha," she said. "I think it's time we had an honest conversation." I kept my face neutral, but my heart hammered against my ribs. The security guard was gone. The door was closed. Just Monica and me in this small room with its mesh-covered window. "What do you want?" I asked. She walked to the chair and sat down, crossing her legs elegantly. In the harsh fluorescent light, she looked younger than her 38 years. Beautiful, polished, completely in control. "I want you to understand something," she said. "This isn't personal. It's just business. Stealing my estate isn't personal. I'm not stealing anything. I'm securing my family's future, Daniel's future, our children's future." She examined her nails, perfectly manicured, painted a soft pink. "You were going to leave everything split between Daniel and Tisha. 50-50. That's not fair." "Not fair?" I couldn't keep the shock from my voice. "They're both my children." Tisha left. She moved to London, built her own life, barely visits. Daniel stayed. He took care of you after Thomas died. He mowed your lawn, fixed your leaking roof, drove you to doctor's appointments. Monica's voice hardened. "Why should she get half of everything when he did all the work?" "Because she's my daughter. Because that's what families do. They share equally. That's what weak families do." Monica leaned forward. "Strong families take what they're owed, and Daniel is owed more than half." The pieces clicked into place. "You convinced him of this. You've been poisoning him against Tisha. I've been opening his eyes, showing him how she abandoned you both, how she only calls when she wants something." Monica's smile was razor thin. "It wasn't hard. He already felt overlooked, undervalued. I just helped him see the truth. The truth is that you married him for his inheritance." "No." Her voice turned cold. "I married him because he was easy to control. The inheritance was just a bonus, a very substantial bonus." The casual cruelty of it took my breath away. "Does he know? That you don't love him?" "Of course not. Daniel thinks I'm devoted to him. And I am, devoted to the life his money will provide. Once the conservatorship goes through, we'll have access to everything. The house, the investments, the land. We'll sell it all, move somewhere warm. California, maybe. Or Florida. You can't sell the house. It's been in Thomas's family for generations. It's a money pit. Old, expensive to maintain, tied to memories of a dead man. Daniel deserves better." She stood. "And that's where you come in, Martha. You're going to help us." "I'll never help you." "Yes, you will. Because if you don't, I'll make sure you spend the rest of your life in facilities like this one. Or worse." She moved closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "There are places for people like you. State institutions where they don't ask too many questions, where patients disappear into the system and families forget about them. Is that what you want? You're threatening me. I'm giving you a choice. Tomorrow, doctor. Morrison is going to evaluate you again. You're going to tell him you've been confused, that the medications are helping, that you trust Daniel and me to make decisions for you. You're going to be cooperative, compliant, grateful for our care. And if I refuse?" Monica's smile widened. "Then I'll tell Daniel that you tried to attack me tonight, that you became violent and had to be restrained. I'll have bruises on my arms by morning. I'm very good at making things look convincing. Doctor, Morrison will have no choice but to increase your medications, possibly move you to a more secure facility." She was insane. Completely, coldly insane. "You won't get away with this," I said. "I already have." She walked to the door, then paused. "Oh, and Martha? That phone Rebecca gave you? I know about it. I saw her slip it to you on the security cameras. I haven't reported it yet because I wanted to see who you'd call. Patricia Mack, George Brennan, your daughter. Very predictable. She pulled a small device from her pocket, my burner phone. The security guard retrieved it from your mattress while we were talking. You should hide things better. The floor dropped out from under me. She'd been watching. She'd known everything. Your lawyer friend George tried to file an emergency motion this afternoon. It was denied. The judge saw no reason to delay the hearing. The evidence against you is too compelling. Monica opened the door. 6 days, Martha. Then everything becomes ours. And you'll spend the rest of your life exactly where you belong, locked away and forgotten. She left. The door clicked shut, the lock engaged. I sat on the bed, shaking. She'd taken the phone. She'd neutralized my lawyer. She'd been 3 steps ahead the entire time. But she'd made one mistake. She'd told me the truth. And truth, once spoken, couldn't be unspoken. I waited 2 hours, until the night shift was deep into their rounds. Then I pressed the call button. A different nurse appeared. Older, tired-looking. Not Rebecca. I need to see Dr. Morrison, I said. It's urgent. It's 1 in the morning, Mrs. DeGettle. Monica Digital was just here. She threatened me. I need to report it. The nurse's expression shifted to professional concern. What kind of threats? She told me she'll put me in a state institution if I don't cooperate with the conservatorship. She said she'd fake an attack and claim I became violent. I kept my voice steady, factual. She also admitted that she's been drugging me to fake episodes. She said she married my son for his inheritance. I need someone to document this. Now. The nurse hesitated. I'll call the supervisor. 30 minutes later, I was sitting in a small office with Dr. Morrison and a hospital administrator named Mrs. Phillips. Both looked skeptical, but willing to listen. Tell us exactly what happened, Dr. Morrison said. I repeated everything Monica had told me, word for word. When I finished, Mrs. Phillips and Dr. Morrison exchanged glances. These are serious allegations, Mrs. Phillips said carefully. But Mrs. DeGettle, you understand how this looks? You're claiming your daughter-in-law confessed to an elaborate fraud scheme. I'm not claiming. I'm reporting what happened. At 1 in the morning, with no witnesses present, after we found an unauthorized phone in your possession. Mrs. Phillips's tone was gentle but firm. It sounds like the kind of story someone might fabricate to avoid treatment. Why would I fabricate this? What would I gain? Control, Dr. Morrison said quietly. Mrs. DeGettle, I've seen this pattern before. Patients who feel powerless sometimes create elaborate narratives where they're the victims of conspiracies. It gives them a sense of agency. I'm not creating narratives. Monica was here. She sat in that chair. I pointed to the chair Monica had occupied. Check the security cameras. You'll see her enter my room. Mrs. Phillips nodded. We will. But visiting patients isn't a crime. Without audio, we'll only see 2 people talking. That doesn't prove she threatened you. Then test my blood again. You'll find benzodiazepines. We already know that, Dr. Morrison interrupted. The question is how they got there. Your daughter-in-law says you were prescribed them months ago by your primary care physician for anxiety. We're still trying to reach that physician to verify. I don't have a primary care physician. I use the walk-in clinic in town. Check their records. There's no prescription for benzodiazepines. We're working on it. But Mrs. DeGettle, these things take time. And in the meantime, we have to act on the evidence we have. Dr. Morrison's expression was sympathetic. The videos, the medical history Monica provided, your son's testimony. It all points to someone experiencing a psychiatric crisis. So you're not going to investigate Monica. We'll review the security footage, Mrs. Phillips said. We'll continue trying to verify your medical records. But I need you to understand that making false accusations against family members is a serious matter. If we determine you've been lying, I'm not lying. It will significantly impact your case for release. They left me alone in the office. A nurse escorted me back to my room 10 minutes later. As we walked through the corridor, I saw Rebecca at the nurse's station. Her eyes met mine, filled with worry and warning. Back in my room, I lay in the dark and tried to think. Monica had the phone. She'd neutralized my lawyer. She'd convinced the hospital staff I was delusional. She was dismantling my defense piece by piece. But she didn't know about Tisha. Not really. She knew Tisha was coming, but she didn't know Tisha had already contacted a lawyer in London. She didn't know about the money I'd transferred. She didn't know that Tisha had witnessed her standing at my jewelry box last Christmas. Small things, but perhaps enough. The next morning, Daniel arrived alone. He looked worse than before, his shirt wrinkled, his face haggard. He sat down heavily in the chair Monica had occupied the night before. "Mom, we need to talk." "Where's Monica?" "Home. He rubbed his face. "She told me about last night, about what you accused her of. It wasn't an accusation, it was the truth." "Mom, please." His voice cracked. "Please stop. You're making this so much harder than it needs to be. Monica loves you. I love you. We're trying to help. Daniel, listen to me. Really listen. Your wife doesn't love you. She married you for the inheritance. She told me so herself last night. Stop it." He stood abruptly. "Just stop. I'm so tired of this. Tired of the paranoia, the accusations, the constant fighting. Monica has been nothing but patient with you, and you repay her with lies. They're not lies. Yes, they are. And I'm done enabling them." He paced to the window, his back to me. "Dr. Morrison thinks you need long-term residential care. Somewhere structured, with 24-hour supervision. Monica and I have been looking at facilities. There's one in Richmond that specializes in elderly patients with dementia and psychiatric disorders. You're putting me in a home. We're getting you the help you need." He turned to face me, and I saw tears on his cheeks. "Mom, I can't do this anymore. I can't watch you destroy yourself with these delusions. I can't keep hoping you'll get better when you keep getting worse. Daniel, please. The conservatorship hearing is in 5 days. The doctor's going to recommend that Monica and I be granted full authority over your care and your estate. And I'm going to agree with him, because that's what Dad would have wanted. He'd want you safe, even if that means protecting you from yourself." He left before I could respond. I sat alone in the room, the walls closing in. 5 days. Monica had said 6, but she'd been counting from yesterday. 5 days until I lost everything. My freedom, my home, my life's work. Unless I could prove the truth. The door opened. Rebecca slipped inside, glancing nervously at the hallway. "I don't have long," she whispered. "But I found something. Monica's been here almost every day since you were admitted. Yesterday she met with someone in the parking lot. A man. I didn't recognize him, but I got his license plate number." She pressed a slip of paper into my hand. "Tisha called me on my personal phone. She lands tomorrow morning. I told her what happened. About Monica taking the phone, about the threats. She's bringing a lawyer with her from London. Someone who specializes in elder abuse." Hope flickered. "Did you tell her about the man in the parking lot?" "Yes. She's going to have him traced." Rebecca checked the hallway again. "Mrs. Degatel, be careful. Monica knows you're trying to fight back. She's going to escalate. I've seen her type before. They get desperate when they feel threatened. What should I do?" "Stay calm. Stay coherent. Don't give them any excuse to increase your medications or transfer you. And whatever you do, don't be alone with Monica again." After she left, I studied the license plate number. Virginia plates. A local. Someone Monica knew well enough to meet in person. Who was he? And what role did he play in Monica's plan? I hid the paper in the hem of my hospital gown, stitching it in place with thread I pulled from the blanket. If they searched my room again, they wouldn't find it. That afternoon, Mrs. Phillips returned with Dr. Morrison. "We reviewed the security footage from last night," she said. "You were correct. Monica DeGettel did visit you at approximately 10 o'clock. The visit lasted 18 minutes. Relief flooded through me. "So you believe me. We believe she visited you. But Mrs. DeGettel, the footage shows a calm conversation. There's no evidence of threats or aggression. In fact, Monica appears to be comforting you at several points. That's because she knew she was being recorded." "We also spoke with Monica this morning," Dr. Morrison interrupted. "She admits she visited you. She says she wanted to reassure you, to tell you that the conservatorship was about protecting you, not punishing you. She says you became agitated and accused her of various crimes, and that's when she decided to leave. That's not what happened. Mrs. Degatel, Without audio, we can't verify either version of events. And given your current mental state, we have to weigh Monica's testimony more heavily. Dr. Morrison's voice was gentle. I'm sorry. I know that's not what you want to hear. After they left, I lay in bed and stared at the ceiling. Monica had won again. She'd turned my truth into my delusion. She'd made my son believe I was broken. She'd convinced the doctors I was beyond help. But Tisha was coming, and somewhere in that license plate number was a thread that, when pulled, might unravel everything. I just had to hold on for one more day. Tisha arrived the next morning like a force of nature. I was sitting in the day room, a depressing space with plastic chairs and a television that played game shows nobody watched, when I heard her voice in the hallway. Sharp, furious, demanding answers. I don't care what your policies are. That's my mother and I'm seeing her now. Dr. Morrison's calm response was inaudible, but Tisha's wasn't. No, not in an hour. Not after you've had time to prep her or sedate her or whatever you people do. Right now. The door opened. Tisha strode in, and the sight of her made my eyes burn with tears. She looked so much like Thomas. Tall, strong-featured, with the same determined set to her jaw. Behind her came Dr. Morrison, looking flustered, and a man in an expensive suit carrying a leather briefcase. Tisha crossed the room and wrapped her arms around me. Mom! Oh, Mom! I held her tight, breathing in her perfume, something floral and expensive. You came. Of course I came. She pulled back, studying my face with fierce intensity. Are you all right? Have they hurt you? I'm fine. Scared, but fine. The man in the suit stepped forward. Mrs. DeGettle, I'm James Mitchell. I'm an attorney specializing in elder law and exploitation cases. Tisha retained me to review your situation. He had a British accent, clipped and professional. With your permission, I'd like to ask you some questions. Ask anything. Dr. Morrison cleared his throat. I'm not sure this is appropriate without proper authorization. Mrs. DeGettle is a competent adult, Mitchell said smoothly. She doesn't need authorization to speak with her attorney. Unless you're claiming she lacks capacity to retain counsel? No, but then we're quite within our rights. Mitchell pulled out a small recording device. Mrs. DeGettle, I'm recording this conversation with your consent. Is that acceptable? Yes. For the next hour, Mitchell asked me to recount everything. I told him about the drugged coffee, the videos, Monica's threats, the fabricated medical history. Tisha sat beside me, holding my hand, her expression growing darker with each revelation. When I finished, Mitchell was quiet for a moment, making notes. Then he looked up. Dr. Morrison, I'd like to request Mrs. DeGettle's complete medical file, including the blood work taken on admission. I'd also like the names of any physicians who supposedly treated her prior to admission. That information is confidential. Not from her attorney, it isn't. And certainly not when there are allegations of fraud and false imprisonment. Mitchell's smile didn't reach his eyes. I can get a court order as early as today if necessary. But I'd prefer to handle this professionally. Dr. Morrison's jaw tightened. I'll need to consult with our legal department. You do that. In the meantime, I'm formally requesting that Mrs. DeGettle be released into Tisha DeGettle's care pending further investigation. That's not possible. She's on an involuntary hold, based on evidence that's now in dispute. The videos were allegedly filmed while she was drugged. The medical history is unverified. The only witness to her supposed violent behavior is the same daughter-in-law who stands to benefit from her incapacity. Mitchell leaned forward. Doctor, if you keep her here without proper justification, you and this facility will be named as co-defendants in the lawsuit I'm preparing. Dr. Morrison paled. I'll need to review the case with my staff. You have until this afternoon, 3 o'clock. After that, I file for emergency relief. Mitchell stood. Come along, Tisha. Let's give the doctor some time to think. Tisha squeezed my hand. I'll be back soon, Mom. Don't worry. After they left, I sat alone in the day room, hope warring with fear. Mitchell was good, aggressive, confident, but Monica had built her case carefully. Would it be enough? Rebecca found me an hour later. She glanced around to make sure we were alone, then sat beside me. Tisha gave me her number, she whispered. She said to tell you. They traced the license plate. The man Monica met in the parking lot is named Victor Reeves. He's a private investigator. A private investigator. What would Monica need with a PI? Tisha thinks he might have been helping her build the case against you, gathering evidence, documenting your activities, maybe even helping fake some of the medical records. Rebecca's voice dropped even lower. But here's the interesting part. Tisha's lawyer did some digging. Victor Reeves has a criminal record. He was convicted of fraud 8 years ago, falsifying documents for insurance scams. My pulse quickened. Can we prove he helped Monica? Not yet. But if we can connect him to the videos or the fake medical history? Rebecca broke off as another nurse entered the room. She stood quickly, speaking in a normal voice. Just remember to take your medications, Mrs. DeGettle. It's important for your recovery. After she left, I sat and thought. A private investigator with a history of fraud. Meeting secretly with Monica. What had they been planning? And more importantly, what evidence had they left behind? That afternoon, Dr. Morrison called me into his office. He looked exhausted. Mrs. DeGettle, I've reviewed your case with our legal team and consulted with Mrs. Phillips. Given the complexities that have emerged, we're prepared to release you on a conditional basis. Relief nearly buckled my knees. Conditional? You'll be released to Tisha's custody. You'll need to attend outpatient psychiatric evaluation within 48 hours. And the conservatorship hearing will proceed as scheduled. We can't stop that. But you'll be out of here. He paused. I want you to know, if there's been any misconduct, any fraud, as Mr. Mitchell alleges, I deeply regret my role in it. I believed the evidence presented to me was legitimate. I know you did. Monica is very convincing. She is. He handed me a folder. These are copies of your medical records from this facility, including the blood work showing benzodiazepines. Mr. Mitchell requested them. I hope they help your case. By late afternoon, I walked out of Riverside Psychiatric Facility wearing borrowed clothes from Tisha, jeans that were too long, a sweater that smelled like her perfume. The sunlight felt like a gift. Tisha had rented a hotel room in Lexington, 30 minutes from my house. She drove while Mitchell sat in the back, reviewing documents on his laptop. We need to talk strategy, Mitchell said as we pulled onto the highway. The conservatorship hearing is in 4 days. We need to dismantle Monica's case and build our own. That means gathering evidence quickly. What kind of evidence? I asked. First, we need to prove the videos were taken while you were drugged. The blood work helps, but we need more. Pharmacy records showing Monica purchased benzodiazepines, testimony from people who saw you during the time period in question, anything that contradicts the timeline Monica established. Patricia Mack, I said. She had lunch with me. She can testify I was lucid. Good. We'll depose her tomorrow. What else? The walk-in clinic. I use Lexington Urgent Care for medical issues. They'll have records showing I was never prescribed psychiatric medications. Excellent. Tisha, can you get those records? Already working on it, Tisha said, her eyes on the road. I called them this morning. They're pulling everything from the last 2 years. Mitchell typed notes. We also need to address the power of attorney. When did Monica obtain it? 2 months ago, I said. Daniel gave it to her. Did you sign anything? Agree to it? No. I didn't even know about it until Rebecca told me. Then it may not be valid. Medical power of attorney typically requires the principal's consent unless they're already incapacitated. We'll challenge it. He looked up. Now, the difficult question. Do you want Daniel at the hearing? I was quiet for a moment. Yes. He needs to hear the truth, all of it. Even if it destroys his marriage? Especially then. Monica is poison. The longer he stays with her, the more damage she'll do. We arrived at the hotel, a modest chain property near the interstate. Tisha had booked adjoining rooms. Once inside, she ordered room service while Mitchell continued reviewing documents. Tell me about your estate, Mitchell said. What exactly are we protecting? The house and land, 42 acres in total. It's been in Thomas's family for 4 generations. Current value is approximately $3 million. Investment accounts total another $2 million. Some stocks, some bonds. A trust fund Thomas set up for the grandchildren, another $500,000. I took a breath. Everything was supposed to be split equally between Daniel and Tisha. That was always the plan. Did you have a will drawn up? Years ago, yes, but it's outdated. I kept meaning to update it after Thomas died, but I never got around to it. Mitchell frowned. That's a problem. If you die without an updated will, your assets go to your children equally by default. But if you're declared incompetent before you can update it, Daniel and Monica could argue they deserve full control as your caregivers. They're not my caregivers. They're my jailers. I know, but we need to prove that to a judge. He pulled out another document. I've drafted an emergency motion to revoke the power of attorney and contest the conservatorship. We'll file it tomorrow morning. In the meantime, I need you to make a list of everyone who can testify on your behalf. Friends, neighbors, business associates, anyone who's interacted with you in the last 6 months. I spent the next 2 hours writing names and phone numbers. Patricia, George Brennan, my bridge club friends, the volunteers at the community center, people at church. By the time I finished, I had 37 names. This is good, Mitchell said, reviewing the list. We'll start making calls tonight. Tisha ordered dinner, sandwiches and soup from a deli down the street. We ate in exhausted silence. Then Tisha's phone rang. She answered, listened for a moment, and her face went white. When? How bad? My stomach dropped. What is it? She covered the phone. Rebecca. Monica showed up at the hospital an hour ago. She's claiming you escaped illegally, that you're a danger to yourself and others. She's demanding the police issue a warrant for your return. Mitchell stood abruptly. Give me the phone. He spoke to Rebecca in low, urgent tones. When he hung up, his expression was grim. Monica's escalating. She went to the police and filed a report claiming you're mentally unstable and potentially violent. She showed them the videos. She's trying to force the authorities to bring you back into custody. Can she do that? Tisha asked. Not easily. You were released by the facility. You're in the custody of your daughter. You haven't committed any crime. Mitchell paced. But if she convinces a judge you're a danger, she could get an emergency order. We need to move faster than I thought. He pulled out his phone and started making calls. Within an hour, he'd arranged for a psychiatrist to evaluate me the next morning. A Dr. Helen Kovacs, who specialized in cases of elder abuse. He'd also filed emergency motions with the court, requesting an immediate hearing on the power of attorney and conservatorship. We're going on offense, Mitchell explained. No more playing defense. Tomorrow morning, you'll be evaluated by Dr. Kovacs. She'll provide an independent assessment of your mental state. Then we'll present her findings to the judge, along with the evidence of fraud. What about Monica? I asked. What's to stop her from... Tisha's phone rang again. Different number this time. She answered, listened, and handed it to me. It's Daniel. My hand trembled as I took the phone. Hello? Mom. Daniel's voice was thick with emotion. Where are you? Monica said you ran away from the hospital, that you're having another episode. Daniel, I was released, legally. Your sister came and brought a lawyer. I'm safe. You're not safe. You need to come home. We'll take care of you. No, Daniel. I won't come home as long as Monica is there. She drugged me. She's been lying to you. Not this again. Yes, this again. And you're going to listen. My voice hardened. In 4 days, there's a hearing. You're going to be there. You're going to hear the evidence, and you're going to learn exactly what your wife has done. Mom, please. I love you, Daniel. I always have. But I won't let Monica destroy this family, not without a fight. I hung up before he could respond. Tisha took the phone back. That was brave. That was necessary. I looked at Mitchell. What happens if we lose? If the judge rules in Monica's favor? Then she gets the conservatorship. She'll control your assets, your medical care, your living situation. You'll effectively lose all autonomy. Mitchell's expression was somber. But we're not going to lose, Mrs. Deggettle, because we have something Monica doesn't. What's that? The truth, and 4 days to prove it. That night, I lay in the hotel bed and listened to the sounds of traffic outside. Somewhere in Lexington, Monica was planning her next move. Somewhere, Daniel was torn between his wife and his mother. Somewhere, the judge who would decide my fate was sleeping, unaware of the battle coming to his courtroom. 4 days. I thought about Thomas, about the life we'd built together, the house we'd restored, the children we'd raised. the legacy we'd meant to leave. I wouldn't let Monica take it, not without showing her exactly what a 72-year-old woman could do when cornered. She thought she'd won because she was young, beautiful, manipulative, but she'd forgotten one crucial thing. I'd lived long enough to recognize monsters when I saw them, and I'd learned, through 7 decades of life, that monsters could be beaten. Not with violence, not with force, but with patience, intelligence, and the kind of wisdom that only came with age. Monica had made this personal. Now I was going to make her regret it. The morning of the hearing, I dressed in the clothes Tisha had brought from my house. A navy suit I'd worn to Thomas's funeral, pearls that had belonged to his mother, sensible heels. I looked at myself in the hotel mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. Thinner, older, with shadows under her eyes, but alive, fighting. "You look strong," Tisha said from the doorway. "Ready?" "As ready as I'll ever be." The drive to the courthouse took 20 minutes. Mitchell had spent the previous 3 days gathering evidence like a man possessed. We had medical records from Lexington Urgent Care showing no psychiatric prescriptions. We had testimony from Patricia Mack, 3 Bridge Club members, and 2 community center volunteers, all stating I'd been completely lucid during the weeks Monica claimed I'd been having episodes. We had Dr. Kovach's evaluation, which concluded I showed no signs of dementia, psychosis, or any cognitive impairment. And we had something else. Something Mitchell had discovered just yesterday. Victor Reeves, the private investigator, had made a mistake. He'd used his company credit card to purchase equipment from a tech store in Richmond, specifically video editing software and a high-end camera. The purchase date was 2 weeks before the first episode video was supposedly filmed. Mitchell's investigator had found the receipt, and the store clerk remembered Reeves because he'd asked detailed questions about how to make videos look authentic, like they'd been filmed on a phone. The videos were fake, or at least they'd been edited, and we could prove it. The courthouse was an old brick building in downtown Lexington, with white columns and a clock tower. We climbed the steps, Mitchell carrying 2 briefcases full of documents. Tisha held my arm, steadying me. Inside, the hallways smelled like floor polish and old wood. We found the courtroom on the 2nd floor. Judge Catherine Winters presiding, according to the placard outside. Daniel and Monica were already there, sitting with their attorney, a sharp-eyed man in his 60s named Robert Fairchild. Daniel looked haggard, like he hadn't slept in days. Monica looked immaculate, wearing a cream-colored dress and the pearl earrings. My pearl earrings. Our eyes met across the courtroom. She smiled slightly, confident. The bailiff called the court to order. Judge Winters entered, a black woman in her 50s with gray-streaked hair and intelligent eyes. She settled behind the bench and reviewed the file in front of her. "This is a hearing on a petition for conservatorship filed by Daniel DeGettel and Monica DeGettel concerning Martha DeGettel. I see we also have emergency motions filed by Mrs. Martha DeGettel to contest the conservatorship and revoke a medical power of attorney." She looked up. "This is unusual. Mr. Fairchild, you filed first. Proceed." Fairchild stood. "Your Honor, this is a straightforward case of an elderly woman suffering from progressive dementia and psychiatric illness. Her family has attempted to care for her, but her condition has deteriorated to the point where she poses a danger to herself and potentially to others. We have extensive documentation, videos, medical records, testimony from healthcare providers, all supporting the need for a conservatorship." He spent the next 20 minutes presenting Monica's case. The videos played on a screen, me shouting, throwing things, wandering confused. Medical records supposedly showing years of declining mental health. Daniel's testimony about finding me disoriented, about Monica's patient attempts to help. Monica took the stand, her voice soft and sorrowful. "I love Martha. She's been like a mother to me, but watching her decline has been heartbreaking. She's convinced I'm trying to hurt her, that I'm stealing from her. She doesn't recognize reality anymore. I just want her to be safe, even if she hates me for it." She was good, convincing. I watched the judge's face and saw sympathy there. Then it was our turn. Mitchell stood. "Your Honor, this isn't a case of dementia. It's a case of fraud, exploitation, and false imprisonment. Mrs. Monica DeGettel has systematically drugged her mother-in-law, fabricated evidence of mental illness, and manipulated her husband in an attempt to steal a multi-million-dollar estate. And we can prove it. Judge Winters leaned forward. That's a serious allegation, Mr. Mitchell. I'm aware, Your Honor, which is why I've brought serious evidence. He started with Dr. Kovacs, who testified that I showed no signs of cognitive impairment. Then Patricia Mack, who described our lunch on the 15th, how I'd been sharp, engaged, completely myself. Mrs. DeGettel even corrected my math when we were splitting the check, Patricia said with a slight smile. She's always been better with numbers than I am. Mitchell presented the medical records from Lexington Urgent Care. Your Honor, these records span 2 years. Not a single prescription for psychiatric medication, not a single visit for mental health concerns. Yet Mrs. Monica DeGettel provided a fabricated medical history claiming years of treatment. Fairchild objected. Your Honor, my clients relied on information provided by Mrs. Martha DeGettel herself. No, I said clearly. Everyone turned to look at me. Judge Winters raised an eyebrow. Mrs. DeGettel, you'll have your chance to testify. With respect, Your Honor, this is important. I stood. Mitchell touched my arm, but I shook him off. I never provided any medical history to Monica. I never discussed psychiatric treatment because I never had any. Every document she gave you is a lie. Mrs. DeGettel, Fairchild began, and I can prove it. I turned to Monica. The medical records you provided, they reference a Dr. Samuel Grant as my treating psychiatrist. They include dates, prescriptions, session notes, very detailed. Monica's expression didn't change, because it's all true. Dr. Samuel Grant died 4 years ago. He was Thomas's cousin. I went to his funeral. I looked at the judge. The records Monica provided reference appointments from 2 years ago, a year ago, 6 months ago, with a doctor who's been dead for 4 years. The courtroom went silent. Monica's face paled slightly, but she recovered quickly. I must have gotten the name wrong. It was a different doctor. No. Mitchell pulled out a document. Your Honor, this is the medical history submitted by Mrs. Monica DeGettel. It specifically names Dr. Samuel Grant, includes his medical license number, his office address. We verified that Dr. Grant died in March of 2020. These records are fabricated. Judge Winters took the document, reviewed it, her expression darkening. Mr. Fairchild, do you have an explanation? Fairchild looked at Monica, then back at the judge. Your Honor, my clients acted in good faith. If there were errors in the documentation, these aren't errors, Mitchell interrupted. They're forgeries. And we can prove who created them. He pulled out another document. Victor Reeves, a private investigator hired by Mrs. Monica DeGettel. He has a criminal record for fraud, specifically falsifying documents. He met with Mrs. Monica DeGettel in the hospital parking lot 1 week ago. And 2 weeks before the first video was supposedly filmed, he purchased professional video editing software. He presented the receipt, the store clerk's statement, phone records showing multiple calls between Monica and Reeves. The videos aren't real, Mitchell said. Or rather, they've been edited. Mrs. Martha DeGettel was drugged. We have blood work showing high levels of benzodiazepines, then filmed while sedated. The footage was then edited to make her appear violent and delusional. That's absurd, Monica said, but her voice had lost its warmth. Why would I do that? For $5.5 million, I said quietly. That's what my estate is worth. And you wanted all of it. Judge Winters looked at Monica. Mrs. DeGettel, these are serious allegations. Do you have any response? Monica stood, her composure cracking. This is ridiculous. Martha is clearly paranoid, delusional. She's spent weeks making wild accusations. Then explain the medical records, the judge said sharply. Explain how you provided documents from a dead doctor. I must have mixed up the names. I was trying to help, trying to document her history. By committing fraud? Mitchell's voice cut like a blade. Your Honor, we're prepared to call Victor Reeves as a witness. He's been subpoenaed. He's waiting outside. I believe he'll confirm that Mrs. Monica DeGettel hired him to create false evidence. Fairchild stood. Your Honor, I need to consult with my clients. You'll have your chance. Bailiff, please bring in Victor Reeves. The doors opened. A man in his 40s entered. Heavy-set, nervous, sweating despite the air conditioning. He took the stand, was sworn in. Mitchell approached him. Mr. Reeves, do you know Monica DeGettel? Yes. His voice was barely audible. Did she hire you? A long pause. Yes. For what purpose? Reeves glanced at Monica. She stared at him, her expression a mixture of fury and desperation. Mr. Reeves, Judge Winters said firmly. Answer the question. She hired me to create documentation of her mother-in-law's mental illness. She said the family needed evidence for a conservatorship, that Martha was getting worse but refusing treatment. He wiped his forehead. She gave me the videos, asked me to edit them, make them look more convincing, and she asked for medical records that would support her claims. Did you create false medical records? Yes. She told me what to include. The doctor's name, the appointments, the prescriptions. I used my contacts to make them look official. Did you know Dr. Samuel Grant was dead? No. She gave me the name. I didn't verify it. Reeves looked miserable. I told myself I was helping a family. She said Martha was dangerous, that she'd attacked Monica, that they needed evidence to protect her. I tried not to think about how wrong it was. You didn't know you were committing fraud? Mitchell's voice was cold. I thought it was legitimate. He broke off. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Judge Winters sat back, her expression hard. Mrs. Monica DeGettel, do you have anything to say? Monica stood. For a moment, I thought she might maintain the facade, might try to spin this into something else. But then her face changed. The mask of concern, of loving devotion, cracked and fell away. She doesn't deserve it, Monica said, her voice shaking with anger. That house, that money, she's just going to leave it to Tisha. Tisha who abandoned her, while Daniel stayed, while we took care of her, sacrificed for her. It's not fair. So you decided to steal it, I said. It's not stealing. It's taking what we're owed. Monica turned to Daniel. Tell them how much we've given up for her, how much we deserve. Stop. Daniel's voice was barely a whisper. He was staring at Monica like he'd never seen her before. Just stop. Daniel, you drugged my mother. You lied to me. You made me think she was crazy. His voice broke. How could you do that? I did it for us, for our future. Monica reached for him, but he pulled away. Daniel, please. I want a divorce. The words fell into silence. Monica stared at him, shock replacing anger. You don't mean that. I mean it. Daniel turned to me, tears streaming down his face. Mom, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I didn't believe you. I'm so sorry I let her. I know, sweetheart. My own voice shook. I know. Judge Winters brought down her gavel. I've heard enough. The petition for conservatorship is denied. The medical power of attorney is revoked effective immediately. Mrs. Martha DeGettel is clearly competent and has been the victim of an elaborate fraud. She looked at Monica. Mrs. Monica DeGettel, I'm referring this case to the district attorney's office for criminal prosecution. You're looking at charges of fraud, forgery, false imprisonment, and elder abuse. Mr. Reeves, the same applies to you? Monica's face went white. No, you can't. Bailiff, please escort Mrs. Monica DeGettel and Mr. Reeves from my courtroom. They're not to have any contact with Mrs. Martha DeGettel pending the criminal investigation. As the bailiff approached, Monica turned to me. For just a moment, I saw something in her eyes. Not remorse, but pure hatred. You'll regret this, she said softly. All of you. Then she was gone, led away by the bailiff, her heels clicking on the marble floor. Daniel collapsed into a chair, his head in his hands. Tisha moved to his side, uncertain. I walked over and placed my hand on his shoulder. Come home, I said quietly. Both of you. Let's go home. 3 months later, I stood in the kitchen of my home, sunlight streaming through the windows, and made coffee. Real coffee, not the drugged poison Monica had been feeding me. The simple act felt like a victory. Outside, I could hear Daniel working in the garden. He'd moved back into his old bedroom after the hearing, filing for divorce the same day. Monica had been arrested and charged with 11 counts, including fraud, forgery, elder abuse, and conspiracy. Her bail had been set at $500,000. She couldn't pay it. Last I heard, she was still in county jail awaiting trial. Victor Reeves had taken a plea deal, agreeing to testify against Monica in exchange for reduced charges. His testimony had filled in the gaps I'd suspected but couldn't prove. Monica had approached him 6 months ago with a plan: drug me, film me while sedated, create a medical history that would justify a conservatorship. She'd paid him $20,000 up front with the promise of more once she had control of the estate. The investigation had uncovered even more. Monica had taken out a loan against Daniel's car, forged his signature on credit card applications, run up nearly $40,000 in debt in his name. She'd been living beyond their means for years, hiding the financial damage, counting on my inheritance to solve everything. Daniel had been devastated, not just by the betrayal, but by his own blindness. He'd spent weeks apologizing, beating himself up for not seeing the truth. "You saw what she wanted you to see," I'd told him. "That's what manipulators do. They're expert at making people doubt their own instincts." The kitchen door opened. Tisha entered, carrying grocery bags. She'd extended her leave from London, staying to help me piece my life back together. We'd fallen into an easy rhythm, mornings together over coffee, afternoons tackling the work that needed doing, evenings sitting on the porch and talking about everything we'd missed in the years she'd been away. "I got those scones you like," she said, unpacking the bags. "And Patricia called. She wants to know if you're coming to Bridge Club next week. I think I'm ready." I poured coffee for both of us. "It'll be nice to get back to normal." "Is this normal?" Tisha gestured around the kitchen. "Daniel living here, me working remotely from Virginia, reporters calling every other day for interviews." The media attention had been unexpected. Monica's case had become national news. Daughter-in-law's elaborate plot to steal millions. I'd declined most interview requests, but I'd agreed to one with a local reporter who wanted to write about elder abuse and how families could protect vulnerable loved ones. "It's a new normal," I said, "but it's ours." Daniel came in from the garden, dirt on his knees, looking healthier than he had in months. He'd lost weight, not from stress this time, but from eating better, working outside, sleeping without the constant anxiety Monica had created. "The roses are coming back," he said, washing his hands at the sink. "I think we'll have blooms by June." Thomas had planted those roses 40 years ago. Monica had wanted to rip them out, said they were old-fashioned and took up too much space. Now Daniel was restoring them, carefully pruning and feeding, bringing them back to life. "Your father would be glad," I said. Daniel dried his hands, his expression growing serious. "Mom, I need to talk to you about something, about the estate." We sat at the kitchen table, the same table where Monica had drugged my coffee, where she'd filmed me while sedated. I'd thought about replacing it, but I'd decided against it. The table wasn't the problem. The person who'd sat across from me had been. "I don't want the inheritance," Daniel said. "Any of it. The house, the money, the land. It should all go to Tisha." "Daniel." "No, let me finish." He took a breath. "Tisha was right to leave, to build her own life. I stayed because I was comfortable, because it was easy, and I let Monica convince me that I deserved more because of it. But staying wasn't a sacrifice. It was a choice, and it doesn't entitle me to anything." "You're my son," I said firmly. "You're entitled to be treated fairly. That means splitting everything equally with your sister." "Mom, I helped Monica try to steal from you. You were manipulated. There's a difference." I reached across the table and took his hand. "Daniel, you made mistakes. You trusted the wrong person. You doubted me when you should have believed me. But you also came through in the end. You chose the truth over your marriage. That takes courage." Tisha sat down beside us. "Mom's right. You're not responsible for what Monica did, and I don't want you to give up your inheritance because of guilt." "But—" "No buts." I squeezed his hand. "This family has been through enough. We're not going to let Monica's poison continue spreading. You and Tisha will inherit equally. That's final." Daniel's eyes filled with tears. "I don't deserve you. You're my son. You don't have to deserve me. You just have to be here, be honest, and be better than you were. That's all any of us can do. We sat in comfortable silence, drinking coffee, the morning sun warming the kitchen. Outside, birds sang in the roses Daniel was nursing back to health. Later that afternoon, George Brennan came by to finalize the updated will. I'd put off writing it for too long and nearly lost everything because of my procrastination. Never again. Everything is split equally between Daniel and Tisha, George confirmed, reviewing the document. The house and land remain intact. They'll inherit it jointly, with instructions that it not be sold unless both agree. The investment accounts are divided 50-50. And I've added provisions that if either Daniel or Tisha predecease you, their portion goes to their children, or if they have no children, to the other sibling. What about provisions for my care? I asked. If I do become incapacitated someday, legitimately, I want to make sure someone trustworthy is making decisions. I've named both Tisha and Daniel as co-powers of attorney, with a requirement that they both agree on major decisions. I've also named an independent third party, Dr. Helen Kovach, who can mediate if there's disagreement. And there are strict provisions about when the power of attorney activates. You have to be evaluated by 2 independent physicians who confirm you lack capacity. So no one can do what Monica tried to do. Not without considerable difficulty. George smiled. You've built in multiple safeguards. This is about as bulletproof as a will can be. I signed it. Tisha and Daniel witnessed it. And George notarized everything. When it was done, I felt a weight lift that I hadn't realized I'd been carrying. One more thing, George said. Monica's attorney reached out. They want to settle. I raised an eyebrow. Settle? Monica is facing serious prison time. Her attorney thinks if you agree not to pursue civil damages, the prosecutor might consider a lighter sentence. Maybe 5 years instead of 15. What do you think? George shrugged. It's your decision. You could sue her for emotional distress, false imprisonment, the money she spent on the fraud scheme. You'd probably win, but it would take years and cost a fortune in legal fees. I thought about Monica in her jail cell, her perfect facade stripped away, facing the consequences of her actions. Did I want revenge? Did I want to watch her suffer more than she already was? No civil suit, I decided, but I'm not asking the prosecutor to go easy on her either. She drugged me, filmed me, tried to steal my life. She needs to face real consequences. Whatever the prosecutor thinks is appropriate, I'll support. George nodded. I'll let them know. After he left, Rebecca stopped by. The nurse who'd helped me in the hospital, who'd risked her job to give me that phone and support Tisha's investigation. I'd invited her to dinner to thank her properly. You didn't have to do this, Rebecca said, but she was smiling as she accepted a glass of wine. Yes, I did. You saved my life, literally. I raised my glass. To brave people who do the right thing even when it's difficult. We clinked glasses. Over dinner, Rebecca told us what had happened at Riverside Psychiatric Facility after the truth came out. Dr. Morrison had been devastated, implementing new protocols to verify patient histories before admission. 2 administrators had been fired for failing to properly vet the documentation Monica provided. The facility had reached out to me through their attorneys, offering a settlement to avoid a lawsuit. I told them I'd think about it, I said. I don't blame Dr. Morrison. He trusted the evidence he was given, but the facility needs to do better. They are doing better, Rebecca assured me. They've completely overhauled their intake procedures. And they've created a hotline for staff to report suspected abuse. Your case changed things. After dinner, we sat on the porch, me, Tisha, Daniel, and Rebecca, watching the sunset over the Blue Ridge Mountains. The land Thomas and I had loved, that his family had protected for generations, stretched out before us. 42 acres of forest and meadow, of memories and possibilities. What will you do with the land eventually? Rebecca asked. In the future? I've thought about that. I looked at Tisha and Daniel. I'd like to see it stay in the family. Maybe one of you will want to build here someday, raise your children here like I raised you. But if you decide to sell, I won't haunt you. I smiled. Well, maybe a little. Tisha laughed. I can see it now. Ghost Mom, rattling chains and hiding property deeds. Ghost Mom would be terrifying, Daniel said. She'd reorganize your closets in the middle of the night. We laughed together, and it felt good. Normal. Like a family that had been through fire and come out stronger. That night, lying in my own bed in my own house, I thought about everything that had happened. The fear, the helplessness, the moment I'd woken up handcuffed in that hospital room, the betrayal of watching my son believe lies over truth, the desperate fight to reclaim my life. But I also thought about the victories. Tisha coming home, Daniel finding his spine, the moment Monica's mask cracked in that courtroom, the judge's gavel coming down, justice served not through violence or luck, but through patience, intelligence, and the kind of wisdom that only came from living 72 years on this earth. Monica had thought she could defeat me because I was old, because I was trusting, because I represented an easier target than earning her own fortune. She'd thought age meant weakness. She'd been wrong. Age meant experience. It meant understanding human nature. It meant knowing when to fight and when to wait, when to speak and when to gather evidence in silence. It meant having lived through enough storms to recognize one brewing and prepare accordingly. I'd outmaneuvered a woman half my age, not in spite of being 72, but because of it. Every year I'd lived, every challenge I'd faced, every loss I'd survived had built the strength I needed to survive this one. Thomas used to say that the roses in our garden were strongest after winter. The cold didn't kill them. It made them more resilient, more beautiful when they bloomed again. I understood that now more than ever. The next morning, I woke early and made coffee, real coffee, and sat at the kitchen table watching the sunrise. Daniel came down first, then Tisha, both moving quietly through the morning routine we'd established. "What should we do today?" Tisha asked. I thought about all the things that needed doing. Patricia wanted me at Bridge Club. The community center needed volunteers for the spring fundraiser. The garden needed weeding. Life, in all its mundane beauty, needed living. Everything, I said. Let's do everything. Because that was the real victory, I realized. Not the courtroom vindication or Monica's arrest. Not the preserved estate or the updated will. The real victory was this. Sitting in my kitchen, drinking coffee with my children, planning an ordinary day in the home I'd fought to keep. Monica had tried to steal my life. Instead, she'd taught me how precious it was, and I intended to live every remaining day of it fully, fiercely, and on my own terms. The sun rose higher, golden light spilling through the windows of the house that had sheltered generations of my family. Outside, Daniel's roses were already showing green shoots, preparing to bloom. Inside, surrounded by the people I loved in the home I'd protected, I smiled. I had won, not with weapons or wealth or the advantages of youth, but with something far more powerful, the accumulated wisdom of a life well lived, and the understanding that true strength came not from forcing outcomes, but from knowing when to act, when to wait, and when to trust that truth, persistent, patient truth, would always find its way to light. Now tell me, what would you have done if you were in my place? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out the video on your screen right now. I'm sure it will surprise you.